Today, we are diving into the science of brain upgrades. And no, this isn't science fiction. We're talking about real, proven breakthroughs that show you how to tangibly improve the way your brain learns, adapts, and performs. Let's get right into it.
So let's just start with a huge question, one that kind of flips everything we thought we knew on its head. For literally centuries, we've thought of the brain as a piece of hardware you get at birth. What you've got is what you've got. But what if that's just completely wrong? What if your brain is actually much more like software, designed from the ground up for continuous upgrade?
And this slide right here, it just perfectly captures the revolution we've been living through. The old belief, your brain is fixed hardware, and it just gets worse with age. But the new science has proven the exact opposite. Your brain is way more like upgradable software. It's capable of rewiring itself for your entire life. And what that means is that your performance, your abilities, they aren't static, they're trainable.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with this core idea of the upgradable brain. Then we'll see exactly how its circuits get rewired. After that, we'll get into the fun stuff, the brain's own learning accelerators, cover some absolutely essential maintenance, and finally, we'll tie it all together in a simple blueprint. Okay, first up, the single biggest breakthrough. This is the foundation that makes every other upgrade we're going to talk about totally possible. And that discovery is a word you've probably heard before. Neuroplasticity. It's the scientific proof that your adult brain is not rigid. It can physically change. Your brain cells can form new connections for your entire life. This means that skills, focus, memory, all of it can be improved because your brain literally physically changes with training.
So we know the brain can change, but how? How does it actually happen? Let's zoom in a little bit down to the cellular level to see how learning physically rewires your brain's circuits. Learning isn't some abstract idea. It is a physical process. Think of it like trying to make a path through a really dense forest. The first time you try a new skill, it's like hacking your way through the weeds. It's slow, it's hard. But every single time you repeat it, specific neurons fire together, and the connection between them, the synapse, it gets stronger. You keep doing it, and that rough little trail becomes a wide, clear, super fast neural highway. This is exactly why active, deliberate practice works so much better than just passively watching something.
And here's what's just as important as building those new connections. The brain also cleans house. It's a use it or lose it system, for real. Any weak connections that you're not using, they get pruned away. This allows the strong pathways, the ones you use all the time, to dominate. Your brain is constantly optimizing itself for efficiency based on what you actually do.
Okay, so we know the brain can change, and we know how it happens. Now for the really cool part. Let's look at the brain's own internal control panel, the levers that we can pull to dramatically speed up this whole rewiring process.
Let's start by busting one of the biggest myths in popular science, dopamine. Come on, we've all heard it called the pleasure molecule, right? The chemical that just makes you feel good. But that's a huge oversimplification, and it completely misses its real power.
The scientific truth is actually way more exciting. Dopamine isn't the pleasure molecule, it's the progress molecule. Its main job when you're learning is to basically shout, hey, pay attention, this is important. It spikes when you realize you're making progress, no matter how small that progress is. Think about finally nailing that tricky chord on a guitar, or solving one tiny part of a big puzzle. That little aha moment? That's your dopamine system telling your brain, accelerate the upgrade on this specific circuit now.
All right, the next lever on our control panel is attention. Neuroscience has proven two things about it. One, it's a finite resource, but two, it's also trainable, just like a muscle. And the science on this is crystal clear. Multitasking is a myth. When you try to do multiple things at once, you physically weaken your neural efficiency.
And just look at the real cost here. When you give something your deep, undivided focus, you're strengthening your brain's executive networks. But multitasking, it doesn't just slow you down, and as you can see, it can take up to 75% longer. It actively degrades the very circuits you need to perform at a high level.
So you've practiced, you've used dopamine to your advantage, and you focus deeply. But for any of those changes to actually stick, you have to run the maintenance cycle. This is how you actually install the upgrades.
Scientists have completely redefined how we think about sleep. It is not just passive rest. It is an active, dynamic state of brain optimization. While you're sleeping, your brain is working hard, consolidating memories and upgrading the neural pathways you trained during the day, locking them in and making them permanent.
So the point here is crucial, and it's this simple. You can do all the hard work of learning during the day, but if you don't get proper sleep, those upgrades just don't install. It's like writing a whole document, saving it to a temporary folder, and then shutting down the computer without ever actually hitting save. All that work is just gone.
The other piece of maintenance that's non-negotiable is managing stress. Science shows that chronic stress is an upgrade blocker. It can literally shrink the parts of your brain that are responsible for learning, like the hippocampus. On the flip side, a calm, regulated nervous system unlocks growth and accelerates plasticity. It's really straightforward. Calm brains simply learn faster.
Okay, we've covered a lot of the core science. So now, let's put it all together into a final blueprint and see how this is changing the world as we speak.
I mean, this isn't just theory anymore. These principles are being applied everywhere. They're revolutionizing education and mental health recovery. They're being used to train elite athletes and soldiers. It's popping up in leadership psychology, and it's becoming our absolute best tool for building cognitive resilience as we get older.
And this brings us to the scientific bottom line, the key takeaway from all of this. A brain upgrade has nothing to do with your fixed IQ or your raw intelligence. It's about a dynamic system. It's about leveraging your brain's natural ability to change, its plasticity, and then correctly applying the inputs, focus, recovery, and repetition. You train the system correctly, and the brain upgrades itself. It's that simple.
So we'll end on this thought. The science is absolutely undeniable. Your brain is designed to learn, to adapt, and to upgrade no matter how old you are. The only question left is, what will you choose to train today?